Leaving Cape Adare at 6 p.m. on Sunday the 10th of February, we skirted east of the sea ice, weaving our way south towards Terra Nova Bay. Charles Tyndall continued work on his Nansen sledge. What are those for?
They're the handles.
Oh.
For the men that are sort of running at the back of the sledge, they sort of push or hang on. I've just got to make little,
How high do they?
Make little grips for these, you know. And of course the bloke's standing
Oh,
on
I
a
see.
little platform on the back.
Yeah,
when the dogs are going well.
When he was going downhill or whatever.
The dogs don't get much rest.
No.
I think they did more sitting on the sledge than they admit. The old heroic Antarctic heroes.
The full story of the construction of this remarkable model is told in my YouTube video. Dr. Santiago Imberti further informed us on his favourite penguins.
Yesterday, and although you didn't get to see the little cheeks and all that stuff, both Roger and I had a large group of young penguins, maybe 2,000 or something like it, that were just going up and down the beach, and you could see they were really nervous, and suddenly one of them took to the water, and the 2,000 or whatever they were, they just went in. It was just amazing. It was so noisy. And my point being that over so many trips and so many hours to spend looking at penguins, you can still find amazing things. And
after lunch next day, the wind picked up and we found ourselves heading straight into a southwesterly gale for about 6 hours.
Oh, another one? Another one? No.
And who had their camera ready?
Thanks for cleaning the windows.
That's right. Oh, cleans them. Oh,
By dinner time, the wind had died away, and off Coolman Island we were able to witness the first stages of sea ice formation under ideal conditions, with the temperature below -10 degrees Celsius. Still approaching Terra Nova Bay on very light scum of fresh ice on the water. The freezing air encourages the formation of ice spicules at the surface, giving the water an appearance like an oily slick. This is called frazzle ice. As the crystals coagulate, they form a soupy layer on surface called grease ice. Further coagulation into spongy white lumps a few centimetres across forms what's called sugar. The sugar lumps grow bigger until they reach the pancake ice stage. We were to see plenty of this over the next few days. Shortly after 6 a.m. next morning, Tuesday the 12th of February, we were approaching Cape Washington, one of the largest emperor penguin colonies in Antarctica is situated on the fast ice adjacent to Cape Washington, comprising around 20,000 breeding pairs and a similar number of live chicks. The colony is protected under Antarctic Special Protected Area 173, within which significant access restrictions apply. Hence we skirted around the Cape and well south of the protected area. aerial view gives a perspective on the size of the emperor penguin colony, marked by the brown stain on the snow just south of the Cape. The protected area extends a further 20 kilometres west of Cape Washington in order to cover the first documented nursery and hatching area for Antarctic silverfish, Pleurogramma antarctica, which is located at Silverfish Bay, named after the site of the first silverfish egg discovery. Silverfish represent the primary food item for most marine vertebrates, such as baleen whales, birds and other fishes, and are the primary fish prey for both emperor penguins and Weddell seals. It is no coincidence that the emperor penguins chose their rookery site close to their main food source. Terra Nova Bay is a classic polynya, defined as an area of open water surrounded by sea ice. It is now used as a geographical term for an area of unfrozen seawater within otherwise contiguous pack ice or fast ice. Local valleys channel the deeply frozen air gravitating from the polar plateau into the confluence zones of the Reeves and the Priestley glaciers. Such sudden wind bursts are common in high latitudes, for example in the Aleutian Islands of Alaska, where they are called willy-waws. The gales, called katabatic winds, drive newly formed ice offshore, while the Drygalski ice tongue acts as a barrier to the northward drift of pack ice. The polynya generally forms with a maximum east-west extent that appears to be closely related to the length of the Drygalski ice tongue. The brine rejected during the ice formation process increases the salt content and density of the water in Terra Nova Bay, which consequently causes a thermohaline circulation and convective movements. The bay has the highest salinity content in Antarctica, reaching up to 3.5% salt and a potential seawater temperature near the surface of -2 degrees Celsius. Terra Nova Bay encapsulates most of the key scientific features relating to the Antarctic continent, ranging from glaciology to active volcanoes, from the food chain to key species, which is probably the reason it hosts the greatest concentration of research bases outside of the Antarctic Peninsula. We would visit one of those bases shortly, but in the meantime, given the ideal weather we were blessed with today, Captain Jenner decided to treat us to a demonstration of the capability of Marinus Fatava in the ice. Hear the engine working as it tries to push us through this fairly solid ice pack. I think we're pretty well stocked. Well, you can see where we've been.
I went down there, I thought, why did I say that?
Well, it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Tried to ram it in and stopped solid. stop. We're going to take another run at ramming our way through into the same spot. I guess he wants the ship to be stuck fast. Provides a stable platform for the helicopters and here we go. Well, we're a good way in now. She ought to be stuck pretty tight.
I think they're testing again.
The port side stern gangway was lowered and the crew checked the ice for any safety issues.
Sorry for the delay. Yes, starting to park the ship. Gangway's down. Helicopters being prepared.
Given the all clear, we walked off the ship for a stroll on the fast ice.
Might need to borrow two of your poles. There you go, Tim.
Well, we're going ashore in a most unusual way for a stroll on the ice pack. We even have our very own lifesaver. And what club are you from?
Well, this is far South Narrabeen.
Right. The far South Narrabeen lifesaver soon had his hands full rescuing distressed maidens in the surf. Captain Jenner took the opportunity to inspect the bow section and the hull. Marinus Fetava's curvaceous ice-strengthened double hull shows up well in this image. So there we were, stuck fast in the ice. Helicopters getting ready to take people for a scenic flight around the glaciers. The rest of us just enjoying the walk. The ship's chief engineer and his wife celebrated a brief release into fresh air from deep down in the engine room. Scrambling over the pressure ridges in the fast ice, we observed a few Weddell seals lazing around, enjoying the sun like us. Bunch of people here discovered the odd seal. Weddell seals are found on the fast ice around the whole of Antarctica, second only in numbers to the crab-eater seals. They were first discovered and named in the 1820s by the British sealing captain James Weddell in the area now known as the Weddell Sea. Silverfish Bay is an important haul-out and breeding area for Weddell seals, which typically gather in small groups around cracks and holes in the ice, which they use to access their feeding grounds under the fast ice. The range of their vocalisation is quite impressive. These seals are top predators in the Antarctic and enjoy munching on up to 50 kilograms per day of silverfish, krill, prawns and even the occasional penguin. No surprise to find them beside the silverfish breeding ground. Adults grow to 3 metres long and weigh up to 500 kilograms. Heading back to the ship, we noticed the gangway had been shifted from port to starboard side. The reason was that a large slab of sea ice next to the portside stern had broken away, carrying Dr. Peter Gill and a passenger, Phil Bailey, with it. Fortunately, the Red Baron was on hand to effect a quick airlift back to the ship. Meanwhile, a lone emperor penguin popped up onto the ice near the starboard stern and immediately attracted an audience of admirers. He stayed just long enough to pose for numerous portraits before resuming his foraging around the edge of the fast ice. It was then my turn to board the Red Baron for a short scenic flight over the Campbell Glacier. We took off and headed north towards Mount Melbourne. I was hoping we would fly right up to the summit, as it is one of the few visible active volcanoes in Antarctica. Currently, a total of 138 volcanoes have been found along the West Antarctic Rift Zone, although most are buried beneath the ice cap and, like Sidley Volcano, detectable only by geophysics. My YouTube video, Into the Throat of Erebus, tells more about the Antarctic volcanoes. Like Mount Erebus, a number of parasitic cones around the summit are aligned along linear fractures related to expansion of the summit dome when lava moves up into the upper chamber. Fumaroles cluster around the main crater of Mount Melbourne, from which, rarely, venting of steam occurs. Given the air temperature at this altitude, 2,700 metres, is around minus 30 degrees Celsius, the steam snap freezes and forms distinctive pillars or towers of ice. Unfortunately, we could not deviate from the approved flight circuit and headed up the Campbell Glacier to the first waypoint at Shield Nunatak. Nunatak is an Inuit word for the summit or ridge of a mountain that protrudes from an ice field or glacier that otherwise covers most of the mountain or ridge. Isolated Nunataks like this one are also called glacial islands. At the Nunatak, we turn southwest towards Mount Browning. A close-up view of the Campbell Glacier, riddled with crevasses. Passing Mount Browning, we turn south towards Gerlach Inlet and Tethys Bay, where the Italian Mario Zucchelli station is located. Below us, but not visible, are the Antarctic stations of South Korea and Germany. Looking east across the Campbell Glacier to Cape Washington. A final turn towards the ship. A gentle landing on the deck. Once the demand for scenic flights had been fulfilled, the helicopters were secured in the hangar and the ship made ready for departure.
my God.
It was just a short 2-hour hop across to the Italian Mario Zucchelli Antarctic station, even though we were churning through the thin layer of sea ice. We anchored about 5 p.m. and launched the Zodiacs for a quick ferry to the base. And the Zodiacs are lined up, waiting for customers. The base buildings painted in their distinctive blue.
Yeah, whether we can get into it. But what about over much of the muchness? What about just in this corner here? That's a great spot. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, throw it ashore. Or stay in on it.
Once ashore, we were free to wander around the now deserted base, the last 20 of the staff having left on the Italian oceanographic research ship Italica only 2 days prior. The ship arrives in mid-January carrying passengers, fuel and freight, departing normally in mid-February. At the beginning of the season, late October, the fast ice in Gerlach Inlet is used as a landing strip by Italian Air Force Hercules C-130s commuting from Christchurch. In some years, the ice melts early, so an airstrip suitable for Twin Otter aircraft was constructed adjacent to the frozen Enigma Lake, just south of the base. More recently, a 2,200 metre long airstrip has been completed on moraine material near Boulder Glacier, 6 kilometres south of the station. This is suitable for year-round operations by C-130 aircraft. The station was renamed to commemorate Mario Zucchelli, the energetic, much-loved and respected director of the Italian Antarctic program from its inception in 1987 until his death in 2003 at the age of 59. He completed 15 expeditions to Antarctica. Thanks to his strenuous efforts, the station now includes research laboratories for chemistry, biology, geology, and geophysics. There is a computer facility, an aquarium, comfortable accommodation and services units. It can accommodate up to 124 people and has about 100 vehicles, including land, snow, and sea vehicles. The services include a large warehouse, workshops, canteen and leisure rooms, infirmary and first aid. Three large diesel tanks each holds 600,000 litres. A control room coordinates all ongoing operations, local and remote. The technical systems include a power plant, desalination plant, incinerator and wastewater purifier. Although the station is occupied only for 3 months in summer, the diesel engines in the powerhouse operate continuously year-round to prevent the buildings becoming iced up and damaging the equipment inside. The base's original building is known as the Pinguinatolo, an imaginative conjunction of pinguino, penguin, and squartolo, squirrel. The interior walls are covered with inscriptions, drawings, and the signatures of dozens of visitors and staff over the years. Surprisingly, the station's 2 AS-350 Squirrel helicopters are left in the hangar throughout the winter. I wandered up to the ridge overlooking the base and Tethys Bay, admiring the granite sculptured by the harsh Antarctic environment. This distinctive Monzo granite is part of the Abbott unit of the 650 million year old Terra Nova intrusive complex, characterized by large crystals of black biotite, and lozenge-shaped crystals of orthoclase. The type locality is Mount Abbott at 1,020 metres, the highest point in the northern foothills, situated 7 kilometres west of the station. The peak is named after Petty Officer George Abbott, a member of the northern party of Captain Robert Falcon Scott's ill-fated 1910 to 1913 Terra Nova expedition. The plates of ice in Tethys Bay move around gently in the breeze. At this moment it is a very peaceful spot where one can appreciate the Antarctic silence. After only an hour or so exploring the station and its surrounds, it was time to board the Zodiacs again to return to the ship. Another trip which was not without its challenges.
Not a big meaty bit, that was.
On board, the bar did a roaring trade, both before and after a raucous dinner.
We nearly never got back there. The boat was frozen, we couldn't get out. What's happening? You're not always Sydney now. You're not always at You Adelaide?
Adelaide? Oh, once upon a time.
He's true, bloke.
Oh, we got the South Australia.
Captain Jenner set the course to the southeast, hoping to skirt around the end of the Drygalski Glacier ice tongue and head straight for Ross Island. We arrived at the toe of the glacier at midnight, in time to see the sun both set and rise simultaneously, as we were now far enough south to be in constant daylight. Unfortunately, the ice trapped at the toe of the ice tongue was too thick to penetrate, and we were forced to backtrack north to Cape Washington before heading east across the Ross Sea. But that's another story.